it's been long hours, but I'm really happy with what we're doing. So,
what's been the most challenging thing so far?
You know what's funny? What's been a learning curve is the magic stuff. Like, you know, like seeing things that aren't there, like the special effects and the monsters and like, you know, green screen and like, you know, I feel like I'm in a Marvel movie. I mean, I'm not, but but it feels like that, which has been really fun. And I think it's a different kind of acting, which I've never done, you know. So that's been great.
Why did you want to take on this role?
Well, I really love Jenny Sander-Urman. You know, I am a big fan of Jane the Virgin. I thought it was really smart. I thought it was edgy. I thought it was like groundbreaking with like who she chose to cast in her shows. And I just felt like they could take this like major show and make it really interesting. And I did a lot of like independent films before this, and I was like ready to kind of be in a bigger thing. So.
I'm interested in what you said about who she chooses to cast.
Yeah.
I know people have been talking a lot more about representation recently, and with this reboot, casting women of color. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Speak to what exactly?
I mean, just why you think that they decided to cast women of color in the reboot when in the original show they were all white.
I mean, I think Jenny said something really interesting. She was like, she did a show that was like groundbreaking that people really responded to, and that she felt so moved by that and empowered by that, and she felt like she couldn't go back. She couldn't go backwards, you know. I mean, like, I feel like as a woman of color, I feel like we're the majority, we're not the minority anymore, and entertainment and television and film really should reflect that. And I think that she takes it very seriously and wants her shows to be representative of all people and be really inclusive. And I think it was a no-brainer for her, and it was a no-brainer for me to be a part of it as well.
What's your relationship like with the original? Were you familiar with it before? Did you watch it during the making of this?
I mean, I was always like, I felt like Charm was something for me that was always on television, you know, and I remember like seeing it at my cousin's, or my sister watched it, and like I like rewatched some episodes for, you know, because I just felt like I needed to watch. I was like, you know, what am I getting into? And I just remember being like, God, like 3 witches were sisters, like what a great premise. And I'm so thankful to them, because now I get to continue it in a different way.
Can you talk a little about, I watched the original, and one of the changes that I really enjoyed was how they bring the third sister into it. And I think that that's an interesting dynamic. Can you talk a little bit about how Mel and Maggie kind of not react, but how their relationship is going to be different with their new sister? Are they going to bring her in right away?
I think there's like a learning curve with any like new dynamic with any sibling, and Mel is a little bit like jealous and, you know, kind of like weirded out, and there's like some power dynamics going on because Mel and Macy are very similar, which I feel like is kind of, you know, common with like sisters and stuff. Like there's like tension, and then like you love each other and then you hate each other, and then it's like you make up and then you're eating something, you know, I don't know, like. So I feel like our show's gonna be really cool like that, like very, very like similar, familiar in terms of like sisterly bonding. You know, it's messy, it's never easy.
How would you describe your character in the show?
She's passionate, she's a firebrand, she's, you know, politically conscious, politically aware, she's strong, she's kind of, she's a little angry, which I really like, because I was like, I want to play a girl who's angry. There's a lot to be angry about. Yeah, I think that she's really fun. I think she like loves deeply, and it's great.
How will the show be different than the original, and what kind of different themes will it take on?
Thematically, we've stayed pretty similar. There's not much that has changed. You know, there's still like the Book of Shadows, you know, like good versus evil, the sisterly love, the sisterly bonding. I think that's all pretty much the same. I think the one big thing that's different is just like the new sibling that comes into the picture. That to me just feels really different than the original.
I think, isn't the dynamic between the white letter a little bit different too? Can you talk about the sister's relationship with the white letter a little bit?
I mean, it's similar in the sense that it's still like teacher and student, and you know, we're learning from him in that way. In terms of the differences, I don't really know.
Have you spoken with anyone who was involved with the original?
No, unfortunately not. You know, a lot of the creators kind of handle that kind of stuff, but I always say like, we would love to have them be in our show. I mean, I think people would lose their minds in a good way. So I mean, like that. I mean, that would be incredible if we could have that.
There was a lot of backlash from the former actresses. What do you think about that?
You know, I understand and then I don't understand. I know that like the show's a big part of like their identity, and I'm not exactly sure, you know, why some of them are not happy with it. And I don't have the answers to that. I don't know I don't know what to say, but I can say that like I'm thankful for them for letting me have a job. You know what I mean? And I hope they can be a part of our show. I think we're really open to it. Like we don't want to fight.
Have you filmed anything yet that you're super excited for audiences to see?
Yes.
Can you give any hints?
I can't. It's too epic, and it's a whole like arc that is so great.
Okay.
It's massive. Yeah. I feel like it's a big show. It feels big to me.
Okay.
So yeah.
Do you think that it's mostly gonna attract a new audience, or the people that, like most of us, I guess, used to watch Charmed when we were younger?
I think so. I think it's like our show's really reflective of like the generations now. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's like social media, like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have cell phones like that's a really different thing, and like that, you know, I mean we have the Me Too movement, we have like we talk about politics. I think it's gonna bring new fans, but I think there's also gonna be like something for somebody else as well.
Will the show touch on other political movements besides Me Too?
Yes. I mean, I think as of right now, I think they're talking about other stuff, but like I'm sure like the election will be a big part of it, and I'm sure like hopefully midterms. I hope they make an episode for midterms. Like that's a big deal. But I don't know if they will, but I think they should.
Do you think that it would be more difficult to be a witch today with all of the social media that it would have been 10 years ago?
I think so. I mean, like, there's nowhere you can hide. You know, there's like everybody can take photos of you, video you. Like, how can you be incognito?
Is that something that the witches are going to have to worry about, is being exposed?
As of right now, that's not something that we're talking about, because like we are baby witches. We're really just kind of like in this the first season, so we're really talking about them getting like familiar with their powers and like being comfortable with them and like embracing them. And now like it's cool, like, we're learning. You know, it's not just like we have these powers and now we're great at them. Like we kind of suck at them. So I think that's fun. I think that's like a fun part of the show where we're at right now.
Power and where that comes from and what she does and why she does that.
Mel's power is to stop time, and she's a bit of a control freak. She's kind of like hot-headed, and so how she controls time is by like relaxing and breathing and controlling her anger. And yeah, I think it's just such a cool way for her to communicate, because she has like a girlfriend, and like she stops time and like she like talks to her and tells her things that she wouldn't be able to talk to her about otherwise. It's kind of an interesting way to communicate, but I really like that aspect of it.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the love interest and their relationship?
I think it's very similar to the original, in the sense that like, you know, she has to kind of keep it private, and like maintaining a relationship when you're a witch is really hard. I think you'll see that with all of our characters, that we're all kind of like trying to navigate like witch life and real life. It's a really big theme in the show. Every episode we're kind of like talking about it, like, oh my god, like how do I go on this date when I have to like go do a spell, you know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Just one more question, guys, and then we're going to pull more photos. Are there any particular pop culture references you've used in kind of building her character?
Yeah, I mean, I think I manifested this part because I was in the craft. I mean, I love the craft so much. I love the craft so much. I watch it every Halloween. It's just like my thing. And I love practical magic. And I just
classic.
It's good, right? Like I can watch it. Oh, I love those movies so much. And it's kind of just about like, you know, like power of like strong women and like kicking ass and like, I don't know. I think about those movies often. Like I feel like it influenced me for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.